Tina, I thought I'd actually go live today just because, oh, what the hell? And wanted to ask how everybody is today. It's rainy here, kind of gross out. Dog doesn't really like to go outside, and I am currently doing a lot better. I think I may try driving later today, just around the cul-de-sac, just to see if I can. I've got this on just because it's cold in the house and us girls are coated. So there you go. This is going to be kind of a rant video, but I am going to do what Jason Hunt basically asked Cameron to do, and he hasn't, he can't do it because he's too busy. He's a busy guy. So I'll do it. Let's talk about everything. Okay, let's talk about what we know, I gotta get a soda, just a second. Let's talk about, I'll be back. Going to get a soda. Let's talk about, what we know and what we speculate, what we've been told in the trades, what could be happening behind the scenes, what Sparrow and Bluebird have been saying, and, you know, basically ask people to start putting their fucking thinking caps on and not buy what they're being sold. All right, was it 2021 that we had Kennedy announced the Acolyte, and then it was announced at D23, if I remember. I think it was, yeah. So, everyone's, but Disney never really talked about it. All right. And the trades would, but they never, ever, ever really got anything from Disney. Okay. And it was it back then, it was it 2022 that Karen McCarthy was hired and then 2 weeks later let go. I don't consider letting her go as being a firing thing. I look at it more as Headland realized she wasn't going to get a budget, couldn't afford McCarthy, so she said, we can't do this. Okay. What I find fascinating is I don't think Disney was aware of what was going on. Okay. And that makes Kennedy look bad. Okay. So McCarthy goes to Lucasfilm to be paid for the work she did and the money she lost. She would have been paid. And for a full show, for a fully funded, I'll say $100 million Star Wars Disney Plus TV show. All right. They gave her $5,000. Now, again, put on your thinking caps and then we'll go back. Let's analyze this. They have a fully funded $100 million Star Wars TV show. And that is for the actors, the costuming, filming on location, which for Star Wars, why? Okay. If you're going to go to Tatooine, I understand that. If you're going to do Coruscant, you don't go on location. That's what the volume stage is for. Okay. But here's the deal. Headland may have had $1 million. She couldn't afford to give McCarthy what she was owed. Lucasfilm acted when they first got McCarthy's request. Who are you? What is this about? And McCarthy, all right, I'll tell you, she worked with Tom Hanks. She's worked with, she was a producer on House of Cards. Okay. She worked on John Adams. Okay. And she's a well-known, well-respected person. Okay, Headland got her for the name. That's me speculating, but I bet you I'm right. Okay, realized she couldn't afford her and let her go. Okay, McCarthy thought the show was real. Now she's got the, now look, you can sit there and say whatever you want. McCarthy's got her lawyers involved. They're suing Lucasfilm. So obviously she's got the receipts for evidence. Okay. This is why you can't just say, yes, it's happening. Okay. Here's the deal. I knew somebody, and hopefully he'll watch this, that knows one of the art directors on this dumpster fire, who insisted, to the point he got mad at me, that this was happening. I'm like, no, it's not. This is a long time before the proof, the lawsuit, came out. Okay. And which I think is enough evidence to say what the fuck is going on here. Okay. He got mad at me and just stopped talking to me. I don't care. I would think when somebody goes, I don't think this is real, I think you should tell your friend that they should probably find a different job, get on a different project, because Disney's going to cancel it. Again, if you look at the trajectory of PR for The Acolyte, it went from the rags, which I mean Deadline, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, The Wrap, IGN, to fan websites, to Bespin Bulletin, to Giant Freaking Robot. Okay, that's where it's ended up. Really? And since the lawsuit, the Hollywood newsies have not touched it. Okay, so this has been a frickin' comedy since Kennedy announced it. And we know the story of how, I told it in my upload, how this happened. Okay, she was mad because the boys were talking to George instead of her. Okay, and somebody asked in Sci-Fi for Me's chat, is Jon Favreau woke? No, he's not. All right, there's nothing woke about him. Okay, you know, there you go. All right, nothing he's made has seemed woke. Now the people can complain about, is it Kala Kane or whatever her name is, that Imperial that basically, in a friendly manner, seduced Pershing and then is erasing his memory. All right, this pisses me off. Talk about this before we get back to common sense and the lack of it in the fandom. The girl playing her is from Ohio. She was a police officer and a bodybuilder. And if you know anything about the history of Hollywood, Hollywood has long been a place for the sexually disturbed to enable their weirdness. Okay, if she is a lesbian, and I don't know if she is, it's none of my business. I really don't need to know. You don't need to know. Who cares? Okay, and that's the way we have to approach it. Okay. Well, she's not a femme fatale. She's more of, I mean, Grace Jones, just a second. Grace Jones, in my opinion, was really gross. I thought she was just, when I was a kid, I was like, ugh, you know. But I look like a girl, and I like looking like a girl. But, so it doesn't matter. As long as she does a good job with her character. And, she's adequate. She did a fine job. I don't really care. So using that as a point of wokeness. All right, here's a question. I don't know. Let's see, Marlene Dietrich and oh, Shanghai, or God, what was the movie she was in with John Wayne? First off, she was great, John Wayne. Okay, there you go. But she had a reputation of liking the ladies. Do you think anybody cared in Hollywood? No. Do you think the audience even knew? No. All right. So really, it doesn't matter. Okay. Look, you have to say Kevin Costner's a Democrat. Is he a good actor? Yes. Is he playing a character that resonates with people? Did he? Did you even watch this week's episode? He's the one that saved the kid. You know? There you go. All right? I mean, I think they're both sharing the screen. And when people say stuff like that, I just look at them and go, you are looking for a reason to hate the show. You are looking for a reason to hate it. It was good, okay? I liked it. It wasn't, on the level of some other stuff, but it was entertaining. And look, we live in a world right now that is fucked up. It is nice to be able to go to that galaxy far, far away and get away from the bullshit for a half hour, for 2 hours. Whatever. Okay? So please stop it. And just some other guys, right. Bo-Katan is on a path. And, what are you talking about, Kyle? Bo-Katan is on a path. Din Djarin, by basically bringing her in, you're welcome, Ghost Rider, bringing her in to show her what the Mandalorians are really about. Her biggest moment isn't jumping in the water to save him. It's when they're coming up and she sees a real live mythosaur. And she realized the little girl stories, the fairy tales that she was told, are fucking true. And at the end, when the armorer is talking to her, that's like a Catholic priest telling one of their parishioners who said, I saw the Virgin Mary. She came to me. Describes it in enough detail for the priest to say, okay, that's what learning about your faith, which the Mandalorian isn't just a culture. Mandalorians aren't just a culture. They are a religion. They're a faith. She's discovering that perhaps the way she was going about it was the wrong way. Okay. Taking off her helmet, which, that goes a little far. The Mandalorians and Catholicism are in the way that I think people look at them, and people from the outside look at my faith as being, it's too rigid. You guys do all this stuff, we don't. You guys invoke people who aren't God. And you just tell them, hey, you know what? If I ask St. Paul the Apostle to pray for me, I'm not worshiping him. It's the same as asking me or asking you to pray for me. That's what it is. But we believe Paul the Apostle is in heaven, that he has reached his glory, and that he can help us get through to God, get through to the Lord, to help us with whatever we're asking. So that's something a lot of people don't. Oh, yes, they did. Yes, they did. Don't understand. So Bo-Katan is getting a lesson in it. And we'll see more. Yeah, surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. Exactly. All right. So let's go back to what we know. So my friend Dan Watanabe did some digging and talked to a friend who is at a nameless studio. And I think he met Beskar, ghostwriter. Basically said there are not any big CGI, big expensive productions going on in the UK right now. None. Unless they've shipped out the CGI to India, which, all right, so is whatever. And he has come to the conclusion that the Acolyte's bullshit. It is a sizzle reel. That's what she's been putting together. No, I haven't. What's the big deal in that? I didn't know that either. Shoot me. What are you doing here? It's pretty much a damning conclusion. Okay, now we've got the lawsuit. And now let's talk about the recording that of Bob Iger saying, yeah, I saw it. I saw parts of it and it was great. First off, I guarantee you, those investors who already knew about the lawsuit at Lucasfilm over the fucking Acolyte were going to ask him to see what his reaction was. What is he What is he supposed to say? Now, here's the deal. As you all know, I worked for the House Majority Leader. I have seen people, the most powerful people in Congress, basically the people who ran our national legislature in Washington, D.C., which is akin to the C-suite. And let me explain something else. Hollywood and D.C. are a lot alike with what they do. To add this to your thinking. After Seth, oh God, his last name always escapes me. That kid that was killed in D.C. for basically leaking to WikiLeaks Democrat emails, was murdered. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was the chairman of the DNC, suddenly disappeared from leadership. Okay? All right? I think you probably are. Just try to keep up. And never heard from again. Okay, that's how that shit gets handled. Did that kid leak those emails to WikiLeaks? Yes. Should Julian Assange be allowed to be set free? Yes. Okay. There's no reason for the American people to be misled anymore about what our legislative leaders are doing. Okay? There isn't. Okay? So, they handled it. They just took her spot away from her. Okay? She disappeared from like the national stage. Okay, she fucked up. Do I believe that she had the kid killed? Yes. Yes, I do. And they still have not determined who actually killed him. Anyway, the same kind of thing happens with in Hollywood. All right. This is my point. Bob Iger, like Mitch McConnell, like Paul Ryan, like my former boss, Dick Armey, are never going to sit there, and Hillary Clinton, you know, George Bush, etc., etc. They're not going to tell you what they really think, ever. There's a circle of trust. I'm going to assume Bob Iger's circle is Alan Bergman, Dana Walden, a couple of the head attorney at Disney, whose name I can't, Diaz or Garcia, or he's Latino, and a few other people that he trusts. That's it. They know what he thinks. The investors that asked him that question wanted to ask him to gauge what his response was. So he says, yes, I saw it, I loved it. No one asked another question. No one asked about the lawsuit or anything. They pretty much, I know, thought he's pissed. All right. He gave a fluffy bunny response. Yeah, your circle of trust has to be very small. And this is all C-suite shit. Like, I remember being in the office one day. Army walks in, followed by Tom DeLay and one of the deputy whips. They walked in the office, they shut the door, and were in there for a good hour and a half. Came out, and something had been decided on. Okay, I didn't need to know. All right, I was not part of that. And that was a good thing. I didn't want to be. I mean, there are times when you're like, I don't want to hear that. Don't get me involved. All right. That's way too. Okay. I know things I'm not going to tell you guys about Lucasfilm right now. Okay. I know things about contacts I can't tell. All right. And I'm not going to. All right. Yeah, you are, Peter. Peter's right. So here's the thing. You have to look at what Iger says and use your critical thinking. Use his position in the venue in which he was speaking. I'm talking the UVR. Why on the earth would he fucking say anything else? Okay? You have to be part of that world and see how these people work. Okay? Because they're not going to tell you what they're really thinking. What does the Godfather say to Santino? Never let anybody outside the family know what you're really thinking. Or was it know what we're thinking? That's business. That's the rule. What you hear here, what you see here, what you say here, leave it here when you leave here. Okay? My husband was at SOCOM. He was a fire branch manager. And he knows a lot of shit that went down in Afghanistan. He had to go there for an investigation. Yep. And do I know what it was about? No. Do I know his job? No. Again, was it my business? No. Okay? It's just the way it is. You're not gonna... Chris, because they need to. Look, when you've got your life's savings involved, maybe your mortgage, I don't know, or maybe to look cool, you're gonna say whatever you have to, even if it's not accurate. Now, we could be, Cameron and I could be misled, but when I've got Dan Watanabe telling me that there's nothing going on with this. And that's from another studio looking at all of England and all the movies and films and TV shows that are being filmed there. Okay, think about it. All right. If other executives are saying we don't see any real evidence of this happening, now let's talk about the audit. The reason why Disney told Lucasfilm, no, we're sending our lawyers and our accountants to audit your books, is because they don't trust them. Okay, let's talk about the shell company. Cameron talked about shell companies, $500, you make your own shell company. And it looks to me like there's more than one being made for this pilot or sizzle reel or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. And where did the money come from? Okay, where did the money come from? This is why Iger is having the lawyers go with the auditors and the accountants to audit the books. Because when Disney earmarks $100 million to The Mandalorian, I would say $100 million for the Book of Boba Fett. Where did all that money go? I would say $100 million for Kenobi, okay? And I don't think we saw it all on the screen for that even. I mean, we don't know. I don't know what the budgets were for those. But just imagine. And they start thinking the show doesn't look right. The show doesn't look like Star Wars. The show, yeah, and that's what I think happened. And I think that Kennedy did it, okay? Which gets us into, no, I don't. Look, these are Disney's accountants. So if anyone's going to do any threatening, it'll be Disney. Lucasfilm is like doing this right now. Okay, they're scared shitless. Okay, if you watched my video upload from today, basically Kamran posted late last night that I'll try that the flying monkeys are running around begging people for scripts, any script that they could adapt into a Star Wars movie to justify their jobs. Which is where that, was his name Paul King? He wrote Peaky Blinders, comes in. Damon Lindelof and the other guy leave, and this other guy walks in. He announced that he was part of the Chinoy film on his own. That didn't come from Disney. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be told to shut the fuck up by Disney too, just like Lindelof. You do not have a movie. This is not going forward. And I have to talk to Chinoy. I would scare the shit out of her. Look, Disney's lawyers are very mean and they're very good at scaring the shit out of people. Okay? So you've got that going. All right. What else? Okay, so we're back to the audit. I believe that Kennedy took funds in her spot or designated someone to do it as the boss from other projects and put them into these shell companies that she created. They're only $500 or were a while back. They're not expensive to make to buy a company name and then invest in it, like whatever. And Headland has been using that money. Now, we know for a fact that Headland was given 50,000 euros here and 50,000 euros there, okay? And from Lucasfilm, all right? But that's, I mean, look, again, the proof that they don't have a budget is giving this producer $5,000. Okay, if they had $100 million budget, they would have given her money and she would have skipped away happy. All right, gone on vacation. They didn't, and that's the issue. Okay, that is the smoking gun. Now, Sparrow told Kamran that there were deposits and monies taken out of these very strangely named shell companies. Okay, so the shell companies are real. Now, it's something that people do in Hollywood. Hey, Andrew. And it's very easy to do. But where'd the money come from? And you look at Kennedy and say, now, we think, according to Sparrow, that the face-to-face meeting with Iger is tomorrow. The fact of the matter is, Kennedy has not been seen at Lucasfilm. Her office is locked and has been locked they'll do that in a heartbeat. It has been locked for 10 days and they have not seen her. I don't think anybody would be that stupid. I mean, I would assume Headland maybe put a little of her own money. I thought for a while that Kennedy did. But, you know, with SVB bank crashing down, for all we know, she had money invested in that. Okay, I don't know. All I know is that Iger's going to have Kennedy show up in his office, and Karen McCarthy was supposed to be there, but her lawyer said don't go, so she's not. And he's going to ask her, what's going on here? Can you explain this to me? Hey, Rave Girl. Well, they're supposed to, from what Sparrow said, no one knows the reason why she left. She disappeared. She's not there. Nobody's been in touch with her. And the feeling is that she is talking to her lawyers. And what it looks like to me is that she's probably Iger and Kennedy are not friends. Karen McCarthy is friends with Iger. Iger doesn't like her. That isn't a stat. I mean, Iger, it's profession. It's business. That's it. All right. You don't necessarily like everybody you have to deal with in your company. Okay. But tomorrow's supposed to be the big reveal. And if the audit's done, he's going to be able to answer the questions of where that money went and what the money was for before she will. And, okay, Ghostwriter. And they can, and everyone's going to go at it. Yeah, she's basically, look, back in the 70s and 80s, people did this shit a lot. And it took a lot of, like, I think Cameron talked about it, and Dan Watanabe, Kotank Sensei on here, by the way, basically described it as they didn't do it since the 80s because a lot of studios, smaller ones, went out of business. Overnight, poof, gone. Okay. There could be personal funds. Again, it wouldn't be surprised if Headland put money in if Kennedy herself put money in. Look, and she's trying to justify her job. All right. So tomorrow, she's going to walk in. Now, I'm going to say this about the audit. There is a YouTube channel who is telling the entire planet the audit's not happening. I know something about one of his contacts, maybe two. I do know something about one we all know, Pablo Hidalgo, that the information he's got is wrong. Hey, Terrible, how you doing? He's not really questioning what he's been told. And if one of the contacts is who I think it is, the guy got really pissed off at me when I brought up some things he hadn't thought about. Okay. And if it is J.D. Vaughn, he's full of shit. Okay. Yes, your friend is working on a pilot or a sizzle reel. No, there isn't a fully funded show. Okay. You know, and there you go. Okay. Who was that? Oh, we're talking about him and somebody else. You know, look, the fact of the matter is, if you haven't seen these people, very powerful people, work up close and personal, you'll never understand anything. If you believe every word that came out of Bob Chapek's mouth, really? Really? The guy's a politician, okay? I mean, you know, when they get close to leaving, they get honest. They will be very dishonest. Both of them. Oh, Andre's great. I have, you know, those guys, they're really good at common sense analysis, and they have everybody on. Whereas, you know, you get one narrative with other people, and look, what's going on with the fandom is this: if I don't agree with you, you're not coming back. And I'm sorry, but one of them, I don't think he's had him on for a while. I don't think he's had him on for at least 2 weeks. Maybe he has for a little bit and the guy leaves. I don't know why. But again, it's letting all sides have a chance to speak, right? It's really frustrating you know, when you're trying to explain to people like that no, that's not what's going on here. I mean, I don't know who that was either, just some other guy. Interesting. Maybe I'll have to look him up. You can't just regurgitate everything you've been told. Like that stuff from my former friend. I told him flat out, nobody in the business thinks it's real. All right? And art directors come and go on projects like this. Okay? They do a little bit, they get paid, and they go on to another project. So I'm like, so, you know, where's the marketing? Where's the official Disney marketing? Where is VFX, ILM in this, VFX? Where are they? Nowhere. You know, when I look at this and I think, what kind of designs are they going to have for the ships? What kind of look is it going to have? Because if we ever see anything of it, it's going to be ridiculous, and it's not going to look like Star Wars, because the part that George really looked at when he was talking about how the show would look, the ships, he was very insistent that they have a for the original trilogy, they remind you of World War II. Okay, for the prequels, that sleek 1950s with the Naboo Star Cruiser, the Starfighter with the bright yellow colors. Reminds me of Bob Falfa's, or God, no, who was the bad guy, or the guy that beat him in the drag race, who drove the yellow car in American Graffiti. Stuff like that, that looks like those really sleek designs that expensive cars would have. Okay, George is a gearhead. All right, he loves cars and he loves machinery. Okay, so that was very important to him. Okay, the stylized look. Then when you get to the Battle of Yavin, the airplanes and the ships look like something you would expect, maybe an aircraft carrier would look like. A, a FU-1, F4U Corsair, a P-51 Mustang, okay? The TIE fighters look different. They were sort of this quasi strange version of the Japanese Zero. Well, they've been talking about it, and I think, look, it's gotten to the point where that kiddie show, they could cancel it. Okay, they could. But remember that Resistance only lasted 2 seasons and they canceled it. Okay, so no one cares. All right, no, the kids aren't watching. Kids aren't watching because Kennedy let a bunch of anti-male assholes run it. All right, well, I think it's okay. I don't think it's his best movie. I think when you get into like Star Wars, I think The Empire Strikes Back is, and then and I think the first 3 Indiana Jones movies are spectacular. Okay, you gotta look at it in total. Okay, and you gotta look at how George saw the Star Wars universe and try to keep it out of ours. Okay. So here's the deal. I think the YouTubers who are insisting all this is going on, that really, I think, want it to, really need to allow other opinions on their thing. And they need to vet their sources. Cameron vets his sources. When I'm told by a source that something's going on and I look at what the news is saying and it doesn't jibe, all right, it doesn't match the story, they're full of shit. Okay, you gotta look at what they're saying and find out something about them. Okay. Art director people are not C-suite. I don't know what you're talking about. I think DeSantis pretty much dismantled Disney in Florida. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm a MAGA check, but my attitude is, you two motherfuckers got to figure it out and stop fighting, okay? Because we all need to stick together, all right? The Democrats do it, we need to do it. And to me, there's not an eyelash bit of difference between DeSantis and Trump. There isn't. Now, there's a whole bunch of Trump fans who actually believe that DeSantis is some sort of Soros plant. Really? After what he did in Florida to Disney and the wokesters, go sit in the corner and think about your life's choices then before you come back at me with that shit, okay? It's, again, but we get back to where Star Wars fandom is. It's believing everything you're told without any common sense or critical thinking. Okay, this is the problem that those YouTube channels have. Okay, you know, when we're told by a YouTuber that Pablo Hidalgo, I found Pablo Hidalgo to be very honest. What the fuck? You know, the guy doesn't bother to go to Data Racer on Twitter and say, do you have any of Pablo's former tweets where he was going off on the fans? I need to ask what your feelings are about him. Okay. All right. Didn't bother to ask anybody about him. All right. Pablo Hidalgo, the most honest human being on the planet. And the fact that he's absolutely lying about what's going on with Star Wars and Lucasfilm to this YouTuber is staggering to me. The other contact is a janitor. And if my former friend is talking to the other YouTuber, it's like, dude, don't talk to him. Okay? I mean, first off, I'm gonna be honest, the guy doesn't work. He has not had a project in years. He goes to conventions and he walks around London taking pictures. Okay, that's what he does. Okay, not really in the industry. He talks to people in the industry, but, you know, tries to get jobs, I think, but he's really not. I think they probably got the documents maybe from that person I knew who asked or something like that. The documents, though, are meaningless. They're a joke. They don't mean anything. Okay, it's literally like, wow, a location license for 3 hours. Wow. Usually if you're gonna film on location, you at least need a whole day for one thing. When they filmed Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in Venice, they had Venice, I think, for 6 hours or like 8 hours. So all that stuff you saw in Venice, like really Venice, that was filmed in like not even a full day. Okay. And that, I mean, I like 3 hours, big deal. You get like maybe one scene. Maybe if you're lucky, you get 2 scenes. If your actors don't fuck up and the equipment is up there, they're meaningless. What, you know, again, what Iger said, he's not going to tell people, you know, actually, I've never heard of him meeting with Paul Ryan. That is a figment of the Trump supporters who are really crazy. That's their imagination, okay? DeSantis knows that if he makes friends with them, he won't get elected to anything. Okay, so please stop talking about it, because I'm sick of him sniping at Trump. I'm really fucking tired of Trump sniping at him. I'm done. I don't give a flying fuck which of them is the nominee. They're getting my vote. Okay, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. Okay, I'm a pragmatist. Okay, I am. All right, don't tell me about pragmatists. And I'm a pragmatist about Star Wars fandom. Okay, I am not an EU fundamentalist like that so-called OG girl chick. I am not into rage porn. I am not into misleading people and not vetting my contacts. Okay, I do that all the time, and I've built up a lot of trust with. I've known Dana Watanabe for years, and now I've known Cameron for years. I trust them. Okay, I trust Andre. All right, it's hard for me to trust people who one day the story's this, the next day the story's that. All right, and the excuse is, well, I'm building a brand. You're building a brand. This is worse than Bat Boy and Weekly World News. Okay? Will you please stop talking about it? DeSantis has made no mistakes beyond sniping at Trump. And I'm getting this close to putting you on a timeout. Okay? I don't want to talk about it any fucking more. All right? Because actually, I'm getting really sick and tired of, and I love Donald Trump, but I don't like fanatics. Okay? I hate fanatics. Stop it. Okay? Ugh. What point? Yeah, and Dan's been right, and Cameron, Sparrow has been proven right. Bluebird's been proven right. So it's like, okay, I am ready to go here. Well, here's the deal. Like I said, if you're told something that the trades don't affirm and haven't given even, right? If you're, that's something that doesn't make any sense outside of the, it is hard to explain, but if you're told something that you've got other information that negates it, and that information is coming from 2 or 3 other places, and then you look at what the news is actually saying about it, and they're not reporting anything that hints at this, it's probably the bullshit. Okay. They're not going to report Kennedy missing. They're not going to report yeah, and that's true. You're right. He would have changed his mind. It's one of the reasons why I quit using him when he was just blogging, is because I couldn't tell from one day to another what he was talking about. But anyway, well, I don't even remember what my point was, but we're in a time where a lot of things are going to change. All right, here's the deal. All right, say you believe the acolyte's happening. Say you believe, okay. How come the trades have stopped talking about it? How come there's no marketing for it? How come we haven't seen any real official video or pictures? All right, because the pictures we got were crappy BTS garbage, okay? Where's Carrie Ann Moss? Okay, she hasn't been anywhere near the set. Where is Amanda Stenberg? She hasn't been around the set. And she's supposed to be the star. Where is the VF? Where's ILM? Again, they could be farming out their CGI to and their effects to India, but I don't think so. I mean, the feeling of executives in Hollywood that I trust is that this is not happening. All right. Now, if you're getting your information from someone who knows somebody that worked or says they're working on it, are they still working on it? Okay. Leslie Adland hasn't added anybody to the IMDb pro page in a long time, since before the lawsuit was announced. So I want to tell you guys what to expect, because I'm gonna have to get off this. I gotta rest my voice. I'm gonna be on Drinks with Dee Dee pretty soon. Here's the deal. I think if Iger is meeting Kennedy and sits down and looks at her and says, "Can you explain this to me? Why are we still? What is going on here?" Okay. If he gets in there and starts that, and I'm sure she'll have with her lawyers there answers like, "I told blah 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 to this. I told blah 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 to that. It's her fault." Okay. And she's probably going to try to negotiate her way out so she doesn't get fired. Okay. Tomorrow. Well, she went missing and has been missing for 10 days. So, I mean, for all I know, she could be in New York with her husband, who's doing a Broadway play right now. But I don't think she is. She's supposed to go to Disney. She's not in San Francisco. Kamran thought that, but I think her because she and Frank Marshall live in Malibu. It's getting better. They live in Malibu. So I think she's probably hiding out at her house in Malibu and hunkering down with her lawyers, coming up with the defense. Okay, that's what I think is happening. And I think the firing of Victoria Alonso scared the living shit out of her too. And I think the lawsuit has put her on her back, her heels. Okay. The lawsuit put all Lucasfilm on their heels because this is, look, malfeasance. You don't do that. What looks to me like what happened. And you don't sit there and say a project is going on when the mother company who pays for it hasn't said anything about it. And that's another big point. The lawsuit, in my opinion, proves that The Acolyte's not really a show. It may be a pilot or a sizzle reel. That's it. Are they filming? Yes, they have filmed something, but it's not enough to be a 10 episode or 8 episode, $100 million budgeted Star Wars extravaganza for Disney Plus. Okay? I think the last person listed on IMDb was the intimacy coordinator, the sex guide, and that was it. That was it. Now, does Disney Plus need to have lesbians fucking on it? Because that's what we're going to have. Okay? Because that's what Leslie Headland wants to see up on the screen in mainstream fucking TV. All right? Doesn't belong there. All right? But there you go. And really? So that in of itself probably would have been, funny, would have been, enough to get it gone. But we got to remember that we've got Kennedy missing for 10 days. And Cameron speculates, she's with her lawyers. Okay. We've got the lawsuit. We've got Iger demanding him face to face so she can explain herself. To me, when that came up, I thought there's a 10% chance that she gets canned. Because I'm going to leave you guys with this. It's a very out there in the ether chance. But it is a chance. 10%, maybe 5%, that we wake up on Monday morning or we get a late night alert from the Hollywood trades saying Kathleen Kennedy has departed Lucasfilm. Is it it is now. It wasn't before. She had her golden parachute. She had everything. But she's fucking around behind Disney's backs with money that they specifically told her was for this project and this project. You don't mess with the king's purse. Okay, you just don't. It's not smart. Okay. And, do I think that it's going to happen? It could. I'm not gonna say it is, but it's a possibility. And it's the first time because it's money involved. And let me tell you something else. You fuck around with money and you end up going to jail. You lose your job. Okay? Period. It doesn't matter who you are. It's another reason why Bob Iger came back so fast to Disney is because I think with Cameron, he was involved with FTX and he was probably taking Disney money and investing it with FTX. All right. That's where the $3 billion went missing. All right. Anyway, I got to go. And I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe. Watch the space. If you're a Patreon member of Cameron's or not, go and read up on it or subscribe. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You're welcome. And thank you, Peter. And have a positive outlook. And to the people who think this is a real show and believe Iger really meant what he said. No wonder why people like Bill Clinton and Barack Obama got elected. All right. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.